Save the bus! Save the bus!
Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! All right, everybody, let's get started. Woo! Thank you all so much for being here. We've got a bunch of great speakers. We're going to kick things off with the Indigenous Knowledge Keeper from Nisg Nation, Travis Angus. Thank you.
Simgigat, Sigadam Hanak, Gubawurksik, Ganix, Gubakis, Nias Mew, Travis Angus, Gingolik Dewaytway, Nisga'a Nation Treaty of the Treaty People, Vancouver Jugai. I am a single foster parent for about 10 years with 3 beautiful Aboriginal children. I live in Vancouver as a visitor for the past 35 years. My name is English name is Travis Angus. My hereditary name is Nias Mew. I come from the Treaty Nation of the village of Kingoa. I belong to the House of Wilps Nis Lisian from the Lucky Boo clan, the Wolf clan. Today we are here for one of the most greatest reasons that I've seen, and it's such an amazing turnout. I'm really grateful for all of you being here today. Thank you. I put my hands up to the host nations, to the unceded territories of Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples, for allowing us the privileges to be here, to live our lives, to educate ourselves, to raise our families, to give us a home. For some of us have left our homes for whatever reason. For my reason, I'm here. But I'm really grateful for the opportunity into having a family, not of the natural way, but to have a family of my own. And being here allows that purpose to happen. So we acknowledge the territories of the which we are on, and thank for the privileges that we have for sharing the skies, the airways, the roadways, the water, and the land. But I'm going to bring you back a little bit further. When we acknowledge the territories, we're standing here, basically standing in somebody's living room already, saying we're here. Years ago, our protocols would have that. It would bring us back where hundreds of canoes would arrive on the shorelines of Vancouver 4 times a year seasonally, spring, summer, winter, and fall. During this time, the people of the canoes would land on the shoreline, not approaching shore. They would wait off the shoreline for the people of the territories to line the beaches. Once that happens, call to shore begins. The protocol call to shore is very important of the coastal people. Each chief would take the bow of the canoe. There and then they will begin the call to shore protocol. The people of the canoes will be asking for permission. May we come to shore? The people of the land would be like, why are you coming here? What is your reason to be here? The people of the canoes would tell you if you're coming here to travel through the land, or if they're coming to hunt, to trade, or basically to find a new home for their family. The people of the land would look to them and acknowledge. They would either grant them access, which would allow them to come to shore, which your canoe would approach slowly, and then there you get off on the beach and thank the people of the territory, gifting them and shaking their hands and just acknowledging them for giving that permission for them. If your canoe is denied access, you basically turn your canoe around and leave and come back on the next season and try again. However, if your canoe approaches the territory, you do not ask for permission to come to shore or do the protocol. Everybody on that canoe is ambushed and killed because it is a sign of war. People of the lower mainland area, people of the coast, everybody that lives around this area off the coastline, they too will bring ahead the communication that they were coming to their land to land their canoes, where they would ask for permission to come to shore. This communication, if it has happened, then you're expected to be there at the time and the day of when you say it's going to happen. However, if the people of the territories aren't down there to meet you, you turn around and leave, and you start communication again to find out why or what happened, but to find out communication again. So that respect is very important, and basically you're knocking on somebody's door and asking them permission to come in. So I'm grateful. I had to share that, a bit of our history, but it's so important that we know where we come from and how respectful it is when you're knocking on somebody's door and you wait for them to answer. Our Nisga'a people, when we have when we do our we do our peace song, which is Kaugani, and it's one of the ceremonies that we have within our community that allows us to take time to acknowledge and show where we are in peace. Is called the down ceremony, which is used we use with eagle's down, swan's down, and goose down, and the feathers are blown throughout the air. During the time of war, our people used to use this to break the people apart from war. It's giving us time to collect our hurt and bury our warriors honorably. And it's a peace ceremony that lasts 3 days to 3 weeks. I will try to do it in 3 minutes. Once we've landed on the territories, we've done our peace songs, spread the swans down throughout there as we meet the people of the territories that have evolved, that brought us in. When I moved here, I became family and kinship with a lot of people from the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish. And during that time, I started learning the Coast Salish anthem. But I asked for permission from the George family, of which their prayer song comes from. The George family had at that time given me permission to use this in any event that I have, which I do, and learned the song as good as I can. But I'd like to share their family prayer song, which today is known as the Coast Salish anthem. The Coast Salish anthem was asked by chiefs from up and down the coast. They approached the George family and asked them to utilize their prayer song as the Coast Salish anthem. So that's the history of that song. Oh, Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you for bringing yourself out on this not so great weather, but showing your commitment to the needs of what we need as people that are living here in this city. Thank you for your energy and thank you for your time. And may the Creator hold you all together. Take care.
Save the bus! Stop the bus! Save the bus!
Thank you so much, Elder Travis. We know that transportation has been used over the course of our history to divide communities, both physically and culturally, and we're going to work to try and change that. I'm going to keep my remarks really short because there's a lot of great speakers on the agenda. We don't often talk about transit or transportation in terms of freedom, and I want us to start talking about transit in connection to freedom. I'm getting people to say, turn the mic up. We are at max. We did not expect this amount of people. So the speaker that we have doing its best, as you can see. Apologies. Yeah, and thank you so much for being here. My apologies to everyone in the back who can't hear. I'll try and project as much as I can. But yeah, freedom when it comes to transportation. You know, in this region and in many other regions across North America, we kind of have two-tier freedom. If you have a car, if you have access to it either because you can afford it or if you physically have the ability to drive a car, you can access so many destinations so quickly. And if you can't, your level of freedom is different, right? It takes longer to get to things. You have to rely on buses can be delayed and frequency and overcrowding can affect your experience. And so when we talk about expanding transit, we talk about equalizing, leveling the playing field, increasing that level of freedom for everyone, whether they're young, old, have a physical disability. That's what we're talking about here. So we're all here because right now the mayors and the province are negotiating about translating $600 million operating funding deficit. We got a lot of questions about whether this new federal funding that was announced on Friday is going to help. It's not. That's capital funding. So what we're looking for is operating funding. Everyone that's listening out here, if you haven't already, please speak up to your mayors and your MLAs to say that we need additional operating funding and, not even just to keep service the way it is today. The region's population has increased 13% since 2020, and transit service has increased 0%. And so what that means is that there's actually been service being shifted around, and some routes have been cut back. So what we're really looking for is more service on the road than there is today, because the plan that's being discussed right now is going to last for years. And we don't want to be stuck at 2020 service levels into 2026, 2027, 2028. So with that, just implore everyone to reach out to your mayors and your MLAs, call them if you see them at the grocery store, etc. Please speak to them. On that note, we have a mayor here. That'll be the next person on this docket. Mayor Patrick Johnstone from the city of New Westminster. Can we have it?
Thank you, Denis. And I want to start by thanking Travis again for bringing us to this space and grounding us in this place today. Thank you for doing that. Hi, folks. I'm just looking at my name. My name's Patrick. I'm a member of the Mayor's Council. Yeah, not much reaction to that. Wow. Okay. But I'm not here speaking as a member of the Mayor's Council. I can't do that. I'm here speaking as a representative to residents and businesses in a community that are reliant on a public transit system. And I'm here speaking as a member of the UPass generation, somebody who went to school and got a UPass and learned how to navigate this city using that transit pass and realized that transit's the best way to get around this city. And 20 years later, I'm still relying on transit every day to get around this city. And I want to acknowledge that I'm not here alone. There are other elected folks in this crowd. We have a plurality of New Westminster Council here. We have Tasha and Ruby and Nadine from New Westminster Council here. We've got Allison Gu and Maita Santiago from Burnaby Councillor here. Because we believe in transit and we recognize that 1 million people in this region rely on this transit system, and that we can't play political brinksmanship with the funding of this transit system right now. I was at a senior center yesterday talking to Mary, a pedestrian advocate in our community. She's been a pedestrian advocate in our community for decades. And we were talking yesterday, and she asked, and she recognizes she enters her 80s, she's going to need to rely on public transit to get around because she can't walk as far anymore. And she was asking me, like, how are things going with the negotiations? And I said, first, I can't tell you how things are going with the negotiations, but I wish I could tell you some good news. And I can't, Mary. And Mary is one of those people who recognizes that her, as Denis said, her freedom is going to rely on a reliable and safe transit system. And we need to fund that system. I believe my mayor colleagues around the Mayor's Council, when they say that they want to build and expand this system, they don't want to see cuts coming. I believe my colleagues in Victoria, provincial MLAs, when they say that they see the value of public transit, they see this as part of the Clean BC plan, they see this as part of the livability of our region, and they see transit intrinsically linked to housing affordability. I believe them when they say they believe that we need to have stable funding for this system. I want to ask them to stop telling us what they believe and start telling us what they're willing to stand up and pay for it, how they plan to stand and pay for it. Because that's what this fight is right now. This fight right now is how are we going to pay for this system? And who's going to willingly stand up and say, look, we need money. We need to raise funds. We need to, I'm sorry to say this word. It's a dirty word for a politician today. We have to raise taxes to pay for a transit system. Now, a lot of people are afraid because there are people right now stuck in traffic listening to AM radio, angry when they hear that we're going to have to raise taxes. And too many elected officials are worried about that anger and aren't worried enough about your anger. Being stuck in a system that is getting overcrowded, getting unreliable, facing potential cuts at a time when this region is growing. So you need to be the angry ones. So my message to you, contact your MLA, contact your mayor. Do it by email, do it by phone, and ask them not just to stand up and support the system in concept, but to ask them how they think we should fund this system and what they will stand behind when they're being asked to fund that system, because that's what this fight is about. And I'll just finish by saying, decisions are hard right now. We are in a time of global chaos, and at a time of uncertainty, governments can shrink back and hide from that uncertainty or be cautious in that uncertainty, or they can stand up and lead through that uncertainty. Listen to that beautiful sound. It is a time for elected officials to stand up, say what they are willing to fund, because the livability of our region relies on it, your livability relies on it, the affordability of our region relies on it, and your freedom, as Denis said, relies on it. So call me, call my colleagues, let's figure out how we're going to fund this system, and let's do it now and stop playing brinksmanship. Thank you.
Save the bus! 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 Woo! Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you all so much for being here. I want to give other electeds an opportunity to speak. Would you like to get on the mic? No pressure. Okay, great. Well, we're so glad that you're here and that you're also committed to keeping this agenda moving quickly. Oh, Councillor Santiago. Okay, amazing. Come on up. This is Councillor Maita Santiago from the city of Burnaby and Councillor Allison Gu, also from the city of Burnaby.
This is very tall. How did we got it? It's so tall. Okay, there you go. Hello, hello, hello. so pleased to be here. I'm Maita Santiago from Burnaby City Council. Fantastic. Also, we've got Allison Gu, Burnaby City Councillor as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Elder Travis for that welcome. Thank you to Movement for organizing this event. Thank you to all of you for being here. Okay, so I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids. They're teenagers. And yeah, so something I talk to them a lot about is want and need, right? They're like, can we get this? Can we get that? Like, I don't know. Is it a want? Is it a need? So now I'm going to ask all of you, is public transit a want or a need? Absolutely. So now I'm going to tell you a story that I haven't told anyone. So let's keep it to ourselves. But I live nearby. I moved to Canada in the late 70s when I was a very little girl. But in my 20s, I moved to the Philippines. And then after almost a decade, I moved back here. So I was like an immigrant. Okay? So like a lot of new immigrants, I had no money, no job. Finally, I got a job, right? Still no money. And this hit home one day. I live nearby. I walked over here to this SkyTrain right here. Right, took the escalator up, put my debit card in to buy a one-way ticket, one zone to get to my new job. I had insufficient funds. I didn't have enough money in my bank account to pay for that one-way ticket to go like a few stops to get to my brand new job, right? I couldn't get down and call a taxi, right? I couldn't call my husband, he was working. So I schlepped back to my house, a few blocks away, scrounged up, a few dollars out of my coat pockets and handbags, had just enough, walked back here, took the bus. I took the SkyTrain, got to my job, right? Good thing I wasn't docked, right? I wasn't let go. But that hit home to me, right? When we're talking about public transit, we're talking about buses, more buses. It's not just about moving people. It's about making sure people are able to get to where they need to make ends meet. To get through the day, right? It's about seniors getting the health care that they need. It's about young people and others trying to get to school, like my son who takes the bus every day, right? To get the education they need. We talked earlier about how this is about freedom. Absolutely, it's about equality, right? It's the only way that we can have some semblance of that. So we need more public transit. We need the routes we have now. We need more routes. And when do we need it? Now! When do we need it? Now! Thank you so much.
That is clearly someone that has done a rally before. She knows how to do the call and response thing. This is our first rally, so that was amazing. Now it's time to introduce you to the Transit King. That's the person that's their name on Instagram. That's how they were introduced to me. But no, Philip has been an incredible volunteer with Movement. Everything that you see here was pulled together by our incredible crew of volunteers. And Philip's coming up here to just share his little piece about transit. All right, Philip.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name, like you said, is Philip Vargas. I've been taking transit since I was 12 years old. Even though I was scared in the beginning because to be out by myself, I quickly grew to love transit. I loved it because it became an essential part of my life, taking me to school and activities afterwards. My travels took me from East Van to North Van and back to Burnaby and then back to East Van for my activities and from home. This was very helpful for my mom, who's a single mom and with disabilities, and it gave her a break from having to shuttle me around everywhere. I want to take transit for the rest of my life. Even when I'm eventually able to afford a car, I prefer to take the bus and SkyTrain. I've learned so much about transit that I always share it with my friends and family, sometimes a bit too much. I also share my love for it on my Instagram, Transit King, and I was very lucky to get that because apparently no one else took it because it was for me. It was meant to be. And I got that name from my friends. They bestowed it from me because I can tell them to get to get from anywhere to anywhere on transit without even looking at a map. Because it is so essential in my and so many other people's lives, it deserves to be improved upon. We deserve it to be improved upon because it can be. To our elected leaders, David Eby, our mayors, our MLAs, and all others, pay close attention. We need to be seeing drastic improvements, not drastic cuts. We need you to take immediate measures to fund TransLink so that people's lives aren't interrupted. Save the bus!
Save the bus! Save the bus! Thank you. All right. Let's keep things moving. Our next speaker is going to be Annie Ohana. She's a teacher at L.A.Matheson and the Indigenous department leader. All right, come on up.
What a great turnout. This is incredible. This is the kind of like uplifting power that we need to speak to our politicians. Louder? I can get louder. Let me tell you, as an educator, public school educator, as someone whose mom, after my dad passed away, is using transit all the time as her only means, let me tell you the lie that they are telling us. And I can tell you that from a Surrey Schools position, where we are seeing in the education system the exact same lie. But we gave you capital money. Aren't you happy? We're actually increasing it. But the operation funds are being cut and slashed to the bone. I see the bus numbers, and they are going to affect my students. We're trying to get home. We're trying to get to their after-school jobs. I'm in a highly, I'm in an area that is considered inner city, so my students depend on transit for their livelihoods to help their families and their families themselves. So I really think we need to stop falling for this idea that if you build some fancy building or one fancy line, that somehow that actually improves the situation of every single person. It is a lie to say that we are going to be stronger economically when you can't even get to your job, when you can't get to your health appointments, when you can't get around. Enough is enough. Let's stand up for our students, stand up for our kids, and say exactly what politicians need to do to actually support their citizens. If they don't, they're not getting my vote, and they shouldn't be getting yours either. Save the bus.
All right. Oh, let me take that off. All right. Next up is Vanessa Sharma. She's a union activist with COPE 378. Woo!
What's going on, everybody? How are we doing? There we go. There we go. My friends, my neighbors, my fellow workers, thank you for standing together today. My name is Vanessa Sharma. I'm a union activist, a proud worker, your federal NDP candidate for Cloverdale Langley City, and thank you, and someone who believes that when people come together, we can take on any challenge. And right now, we have a fight on our hands, and a fight to protect the buses that keep our communities moving. Public transit isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Buses aren't just vehicles, they are lifelines. They get workers to shifts, students to their classes, seniors to appointments, and families to where they need to go. And yet, time and time again, transit is the first thing on the chopping block. Shame. Mm-hmm. They tell us that these cuts are necessary, that tough choices have to be made. Nobody likes cuts. Nobody does. But let's be honest, every budget is a choice. And when they choose to cut the bus routes, they're choosing to make life harder for workers. They're choosing to isolate seniors. They're choosing to leave students stranded. They're choosing to take opportunities away from families who already have too much on their plates. That's not the kind of community I believe in, and I know that's not the kind of community you believe in. Otherwise, none of us would be standing here in the pouring rain. Surrey and Langley are growing. More and more people are choosing to move out that way, to build their lives there. That means we need more investment in transit, not less. A SkyTrain extension alone doesn't complete the picture. We need buses that actually take people to where they need to go. Without them, how do our seniors get to their appointments? How do our kids get to school? How do you get to work? How do you go to your after-sports school programs? You don't. Cutting bus services isn't just about transit, it's about limiting opportunity. I come from the labor movement, as do most of us here. I fought for fair wages, for safe workplaces, for dignity and respect on the job. And I know this, when workers stand together, we win. We fought for better working conditions, and now we're fighting for the right to a transit system that works for everyone. This is our movement to be heard, to remind them that transit isn't a privilege, it's a public good. That communities grow stronger when people can get to work, can get to school, and to get home to their families. That public transit needs investment, not excuses. The federal government must do better. All local governments must do better. We need sustainable, long-term funding models that don't leave our communities guessing whether they'll have a bus to rely on next year. Because transit isn't about moving people, it's about building a future where everyone has a fair shot. So today, let's send a clear message. We won't be ignored. We won't let our communities be left behind. We are standing up for public transit, for the working people, for a future that works for us all. Let's raise our voices together. Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Onward and upward. Next, we're going to hear from Cole Hendrigan, treasurer from the BC Federation of Students.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We stand here together, students, workers, parents, and neighbors, united by one common need: reliable, affordable, and accessible public transport. When bus routes are axed and frequencies are slashed, it's more than an inconvenience. It's a threat to equality, opportunity, and community life. When buses are cut, it's not just students who suffer. It's seniors, people with disabilities, workers, parents, and people from historically marginalized groups. Let's not let TransLink pit us against each other by taking service from an overpopulated route to serve an underpopulated one. The answer is more buses! We need more frequent service and better connection for a city that keeps on growing. So what do we have to do? Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Woo! Someone once said, you cannot understand a city without using its public transportation system. So what does our system say about Metro Vancouver? With zero increases in bus routes since 2020? No. How prepared are our leaders to tackle TransLink's $600 million deficit? World-class cities function when they're paired with efficient, well-funded, people-centered public transit. And we're all here to tell our mayors, MLAs, and government that everyone, seniors, parents, students, workers, deserve a public transit system that works for everyone. As a student representative, I can tell you that students are no stranger to the negative effects of underfunding. The provincial government has gutted the post-secondary system budget over a generation. And now they want to make it harder for us to get to class? Without consistent, reliable bus service, students can't attend lectures on time, schedule study groups, or participate in extracurriculars. All these things are what transforms a student into an engaged, confident, critically thinking member of society. Reducing transit? Yeah, I know that's right. Reducing transit reduces access to education. It is that simple. Metro Vancouver does not need another barrier to accessing post-secondary education. So I see your anger. I see your frustration. Join the voices of the BCFS and Movement YVR to demand better. Because we care enough to show up today. Let's take the next steps together. Contact your mayor, your MLA, and say what adequate service means to you and your family. Let them know how you use transit, especially if you use it for education or getting to work. Last thing, activism doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It can be fun too. So let's try this little chant. I'm gonna say, bus routes are under attack, so what do? And you say, stand up, fight back. Okay, so let's try it. Bus routes are under attack, so what do? Stand up, fight back. Bus routes are under attack, so what do? Stand up, fight back. Bus routes are under attack, so what do? Stand up, fight back. Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from someone that sent me an email, and it was just a really illustrative example of what the transit shortage can mean, because what I want to keep highlighting is the fact that the transit service today is already not enough, right? People are constantly being left behind. I'm hearing about people getting left behind by 4 buses in a row sometimes. Shame, right? So with that, I'm going to bring on a Deer Movement supporter, Ray McDonald.
Hi, my name, as he said, is Ray McDonald. Everybody hear me?
You get as close as you can.
No, closer? This better? Okay. My name's Ray McDonald. 2011, I had a stroke, severe hemorrhagic stroke. I gotta go back to the guy who said that he first took the bus at 10. I first took it at 8 to sign up for Little League. Many years since I took it again, after I had a severe hemorrhagic stroke in 2011 and couldn't walk for 1.5 months. I used the great trails around in Burnaby where we live to get back my strength. Took the bus to therapy, specialist appointments, and take the bus everywhere now because I also in the stroke lost part of my vision and cannot drive. The story that I told Denis was 2 weeks ago, my wife going to and from the dentist with her rocker, couldn't get on the bus with a walker, she was told. The bus was too full. This is the 119. We live on Kingsway and Sperling. Metrotown is very close. New West is another area we get to a lot for different appointments. The bus in the afternoon, the 119 is often full, and we get denied. I belong to the Rockers Caucus in New West to advocate for pedestrians' rights. We have meetings on Tuesdays in New Westminster. I would take the 119 to Edmonds and what did I say? Anyway, we went on the one. We take the 119 to Edmonds, catch the run at 6, and often get turned away. So I figured, well, maybe I better go down to the depot, down to Edmonds Station where it starts. That bus leaves there in the evening full already, and then it travels all the way to New West. So we need more buses. We need to get to where we need to go. In 2017, I was asked by the Heart and Stroke Foundation to speak to the Mayor's Transportation Council in New West to support Phase 2 funding for transit. 8 years ago, I had to do that. Now we're here doing it again. Save the bus.
Thank you so much. Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus! Save the bus!
Arden.
And I just want to add too, so that route, the 119, that route has been cut by 14% since 2020, just because there's overcrowding elsewhere, right? So we're moving buses around to solve the worst problems, but creating new problems in its wake. And so really what we need is more buses, right? Woo! Should probably use a different intonation for that to get more uplifting. Anyway, next we're going to have another movement volunteer, Arden English. Come on up.
Wow, what a turnout, guys! Like, give yourselves a round of applause here. This is truly beyond what I could have expected for this event. So I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone for being here. I don't have a speech prepared. I was not expecting to speak today, but I'm happy to because this is such an important issue for this region. There are multiple sides of the stories to everyone who is here. There's the people who have bus routes that could be cut, that are already overcrowded, and then there's also people like me who live in White Rock, a region with already insufficient bus service that will get almost completely eliminated. In South Surrey, White Rock, my region, we have 13 bus routes right now. And as it seems right, my bad, I didn't realize I have to get so close to this thing. In South Surrey, White Rock, we have 13 bus routes right now. And after the 50% cuts, we could be left with a whopping 2. And of course, the only reason that those 2 bus routes would be kept around is because they happen to go to Surrey Central. Everywhere else in the region will be almost impossible to access without a car. And now, me personally, I go to SFU Burnaby while living in White Rock. That transit commute time has the potential of being over 2 hours right now. That is 4 hours that would be spent that could be 4 hours of every day that is spent on a bus or on the SkyTrain. And some people can't make those commitments, those time commitments. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people. So I had to do what so many transit riders wish they didn't have to do and buy a car. You can boo. It's okay. You can boo. I really don't like driving. It is not a lot of fun to do. Exactly. But for so many people, that's the reality. And in a city like White Rock, with such a high percentage of seniors, those people won't be able to drive forever either. So in a time where we are fighting for the status quo, we should be spending our time fighting for service expansion. But unfortunately, we're caught up in this consistent discussion about fighting to maintain what we already have, what we already know is not sufficient. So thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate taking your time, standing here in the rain to come to this rally. Save the bus.
Save the bus! Save the bus! Doing this speech at a SkyTrain station is great because I have a clock that I'm looking at, and I want to make sure we really hit that hour just because it is miserable out here, and I still can't believe that you're all here. So let's end on time. All right. Next up is Bobin Monga. He's a local comedian. All right.
Cheers. Thanks, Dennis. Hello, everyone. This is an incredible turnout. Thank you so much for coming. That's fantastic. Incredibly.
Yeah, close to that mic if you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
this is incredible. Yeah, being a comedian, I'm not used to talking around people saying important things. So this is unusual from usually I'm going to talk about how weird toast is. But this is really important. It's really incredible. Speaking for the arts community, transit is how we get everywhere. We would not have shows without transit. So this is so important. It's so incredible. Where, you know, the bus brings us all together. You see everyone on the bus. You've seen that today. We've seen teachers. We've seen First Peoples. We've seen disability advocates. We've seen everybody. And that's exactly what the bus is like. When I'm driving, it's me and 3 empty seats just going around the city like a lunch table no one sat with me at. The bus brings us all together, so it's super important. It's the backbone of the arts. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to say, don't let this energy die. This is an incredible turnout. As a comedian, I know how hard it is to get a turnout for a show. So get to know each other. Write your MLAs. Follow Movement YVR on social media. Let's keep this going, everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. Great. Let me just see who else is coming, if there's anyone else.
Anyone else? If I'm the second last. Yeah, and then I'll go last.
Great. We're going to get one more movement volunteer up here, and then we're going to slide into 2 p.m. just perfectly. So the next up is Chris Ng.
Now, I'm sure you've all heard of the... Is that good? Now, I'm sure you've all heard of like all those technical stats, the numbers, $1 billion, 200 million hours of congestion, so on and so forth. I want to bring a personal side of things because I rely on transit. My friends rely on transit. Everything I do relies on transit. We good? Okay. Hello! I'm a UBC physics student in 2nd year. I take the bus every single day. I take in Richmond the 401, 407, down to the SkyTrain. Then I take the 49 to UBC. I know it's faster, but it's under construction, right? But the problem is that if the 2 buses I take in Richmond are all getting cut completely. The 1 bus I take to UBC is going to come half as often. So the problem is that... So what happens is that if it comes half as often, the line already goes around 1 corner. So you have... So the bus goes to Metrotown, goes around 1 corner. By the time, if it goes half as often, the line just gonna build up and up and up. It's gonna go around a 2nd corner, a 3rd corner, a 4th corner. The line itself is going to Metrotown. You don't even need to get on the bus. Woo! Now I have friends down in South Delta. A lot of their buses are getting cut. Do we want to do a little game on how many buses are remaining? Price is Right rules. Price is Right rules. Guess how many are remaining? How many? 1 is right. Yeah. I don't know if we should cheer or cheer or yell shame at that. My grandparents all take public transit. They have to go to the grocery store. They have to go see their doctors. They have to go see their friends. They're very lonely, you know, when you're old. If they can't get around, they are stuck, right? That has actual health impacts. If they can't go to the doctors, they're going to die. So I want you to take... Stressful being the last speaker. I want you to take this moment to go tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Just get on. You know the Metrotown street preacher? Do like that and just yell, save the bus. All right. Do you want to do it together? Do you want to do it together? Yeah. Save the bus! 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 Thank you so much!
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. That was amazing, amazing. All right, well, this is it. This is 2 p.m. I'm so grateful that you're all here. Having this crowd be this big is really what we needed to send that message to mayors and to MLAs that there's so much wind behind their back to fund transit and to grow transit, right? Woo! So I really want you to stay in touch with us, movementyvr.ca or at movementyvr for our social media. Join our list. We have flyers here and posters if you want to grab some and hand them out, put them up. We also have some t-shirts for sale if you want to do that. We have some members of the media who might still be here, but they're going to be looking for interviews, I hope. And yeah, we'll be happy to just chat. And anyway, thank you all. You're all so incredible. Give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! All right. Thanks, everyone. Cool.